Welcome to our channel. In our country, there is a religion, and for that religion, all other religions, whether Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christian, they all become one. And the name of that religion is the mental state of cricket porn. When we talk about those who are professionally involved completely, they have a pressure to perform. There is no magic mantra, I keep repeating this, that cricket is targeted.
Many times associations that run other sports and are not managing them properly make such statements. They pose as analysts.
On news channels, there are people who don't even know, which is the front foot. Those who don't know the full form of BCCI are the ones making comments.
Removing a captain is very difficult. We can discuss this in meetings. This should be done.
You come from Bihar, Dhoniji, although later it became Jharkhand. Earlier he was Bihari, so do only keepers come from Bihar? Only. What difference do you see in those who become big stars like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Sachin Tendulkar? How much difference is there in their thinking process? In my opinion, the definition of a star player is, hello friends, welcome to our new podcast. When a person is going through depression, psychologists advise them to start some physical activity or begin playing a sport, and it will improve your mental health. Does this mean that any sportsman in our country never goes through depression? But that's not the case. They also face pressure. But it's about how you handle mental health. In our country, there is one religion, and for that religion, all other religions, whether Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or Christian, unite. And that religion is cricket. To talk about cricket and sports, today we have invited a guest who became the captain of the state under-19 cricket team at the age of 13. And after Nayan Mongia, we thought that the search for a permanent keeper was complete. Unfortunately, an accident happens, and his career doesn't last very long. But even after that, he continues to contribute his services to cricket. So we have invited him to talk. Mr. Saba Karim, welcome to our channel. First of all, sir, the first point I raised is that psychologists always tell a person in depression or to start some sports activity. Now, how does sports activity impact your mental health?
Look, I am not an expert on this, but in my opinion, sports is a medium through which all the energy inside you gets released, whether it's negative energy or positive energy. It's a wonderful medium to express yourself, to reveal any hidden talent you have, to fulfill your desires, and to express what you feel like doing. On the field, this doesn't mean that players don't go through this phase. Absolutely, because players, especially, if you are playing active sports, if you are competing somewhere, if you are playing at a higher level, then there is a lot of pressure on you. Absolutely. It depends on each individual how they accept that pressure, how they endure it, and how much they fall under that pressure. People handle it in a very individual way, but in my opinion, to solve this mental health issue, if you play sports, your mind will be occupied elsewhere, absolutely, and I think it definitely helps. There are many players who have gone through this phase where their mental health is affected, and due to pressure, various different issues arise. Absolutely, I have heard about depression, and I have read about it too. So, in my opinion, a situation is arising where it is very important to work in this direction at every level. Absolutely, when we talk about the mental state of a sportsman who is professionally involved, there is a performance pressure on them. For example, if we talk about sports in 11 areas, like in the past 3 years, Kohli's system hasn't been working as it used to, and his performance isn't as it was before, but that pressure will be on him too. So how does a sportsman handle this pressure? Look, there is no magic mantra for this. I keep repeating that handling pressure and taking it as a challenge depends a lot on the individual. In my opinion, whether it's Virat Kohli or anyone who has played 100 test matches, when you go out on the field, it matters. When a batter goes out to bat, there is pressure on them as well. There is energy, and they want to perform whenever they step onto the field. But this is not possible for anyone. No matter how great a player they become, it is very important to realize and understand this. The effort should be. And I think every player tries to ensure that the phase of inconsistency lasts as long as possible. The point is that if I haven't scored runs today, our effort should be that this failure should come after a long time. People work hard on this. They prepare for it. They visualize which ground they are playing on, which attack they are facing, what kind of conditions are there for batting, and what kind of wicket it is. And if your preparation is better, and you work hard on it, then I believe the success rate increases significantly. But in the end, Sushil, I believe that if you take medicines as a challenge, then you gain that energy, that vigor, and you are in a very good position to tackle it. Having clarity of mind is extremely important. If your mind is cluttered for any reason, whether it's things outside the field, outside noise, media talks, or something about family, all these things clutter your mind. Once it gets cluttered, performing at that level, whether as a batter or a bowler, becomes very difficult. In our country, there are many cricketers, but only a few become stars, whose performances are out of the box. You must talk to every cricketer during sessions or in free time. So what difference do you notice?
The ones who become big stars like Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Sachin Tendulkar, you have played with them as well. How much difference is there in their thinking process for sports compared to others?
In my opinion, the definition of a star player really largely depends on the type of focus you have. In my opinion, the model sport, international sport, has now become a 24/7 career, absolutely. And in that, you cannot afford to deviate even slightly from your discipline, your sacrifices, or your focus. Things, environments, or people that divert you even a little from your path or discipline, then you cannot achieve your mission. Then, in your career, the word longevity cannot be achieved. You might perform well for a short period, but you won't be able to sustain it for a long time. And I have observed this difference. There is a significant difference between one great player and 11 average players. The great player completely sacrifices other activities just to excel in that sport, and their entire mind, focus, and concentration are entirely dedicated to that game, and only then can they excel.
And perhaps in our country, the expectations are also very high. So sometimes you might notice a difference in the mental process of players. When I talk to international players, in other countries, the expectations in India are very high, like expecting Kohli to score a century in every match. We remember when we were young and Sachin was playing, we used to think, man, this guy should score a century in every match. Now, to handle this pressure, because there is external pressure for performance, and on top of that, our media, if even 2-3 matches fail, for example, we won the T20 World Cup, Osmo, and until then, we were continuously winning, whether it was a test series or anything else. After that, there was a 34-month bad phase for the team, and perhaps after the last 8 to 10 years, we saw such a phase. Now, during this phase, the media starts saying to change the coach, change the captain. And as I was discussing with you earlier, those who perhaps become analysts on news channels, who don't even know which is the front foot, who don't know the full form of BT, they are the ones saying to remove the captain. So, handling such pressure is very difficult. Sitting here, we can talk about what should be done, but it becomes very challenging.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the end, I believe that if you have confidence in your skill set in the game, then you definitely benefit from it. And I've always believed that a player, a team, many people criticize you. And it's very important to accept constructive criticism. Only then can you move forward. And only then can you overcome the weaknesses within yourself, as an individual or within the team. Many times, what happens in India is that our fans have such high expectations and shower so much love on you that we get consumed by it, and it affects our ability to embrace what the truth is, what the reality is, and what the right path is. Even if we do embrace it, we tend to delay it completely, and that's why the pressure keeps increasing. If we quickly become aware and start looking ahead, realizing that even though we have won, there are still 12 shortcomings in this victory that we need to address. It becomes crucial. If we address this odd issue after the first defeat, it will be much easier. Instead of thinking that, no, our team is very good, everything is great, so what if we lost one match? We will recover. But recovery doesn't happen that way. Recovery only happens if you address the issues. And since our team performs so well, sometimes we forget the fundamental things. We overlook them and we think that, oh, our team is very good. We will definitely do well, but international sports are very demanding, whether it's a team sport or an individual sport.
If you even slightly lose your focus, someone else will take your place. And maybe in our country, this might be laughed at, but the players and the public say things like, when we lose the World Cup final, a lot of the public says, if we lose the final match, we would have won. Such pressures are created that one bad performance can improve the next performance. Now, sir, one thing that comes up is that today's youth who are currently in academies and such, like I told you, I was thinking about it, but due to an accident, that career ended right there. But one difference between today's kids and our time is the respect for their coaches, which is somewhat lacking, as you might also know. When you learned, we used to even get scolded if, for example, the front foot wasn't moving properly. They used to kick you on the back of your heel, and nowadays, parents are the ones carrying the kids' kits, so the focus should be on teaching kids to learn from there. First, show respect. Before playing sports, there should be respect for sports, or again, that's essential.
But you see, times are changing. We always expect that the way we behaved, the way our parents behaved, parents or children today should behave in the same way. Now, you mentioned that in our time, coaches would even slap. But that's not the case anymore. And the same applies to schools. Earlier, our teachers used to hit us in school, but now that doesn't happen in schools either. But this doesn't mean that the children coming out of schools today are any less either in terms of education or in terms of their knowledge. In my opinion, just like in our time, it is very important in today's modern age, at every level, to stop being judgmental, okay? Because the world is changing very rapidly, absolutely, and therefore it is very important to adjust with the times. In the end, what is our job? Our job is to keep working on the core issues so that the core knowledge of the children continues to grow and they excel in it. There is a need to pay as much attention to things that are outside of the game. No, yes, we need to make them strong. Yes, we need to make them mentally tough. Yes, we need to make them physically strong as well. It is very important to work on all these aspects, but you need to shift your focus away from many different things and concentrate solely on your work. This is what we need to convey to the children, and it is very crucial for coaches, trainers, school teachers, and educators to understand this changing environment well and try to find that balance accordingly. And one more thing is that the style of the game has changed a lot.
If I look back 15 to 20 years from today, everyone wanted to become a bowler, as well as a batsman. But nowadays, everyone just wants to become a batsman. Bowlers like Bumrah and Shami are very few. So should the BCCI work on this aspect as well, because there are hardly any bowlers left in the game? If you look at the lack of bowlers, should the BCCI work on this aspect?
Work is being done, Sushil. It's not like that. We have a National Cricket Academy in Bangalore where every year, when the cricket season is off, during the summer, proper camps are organized. There are camps for pace bowlers, camps for spinners, and camps for every age group, and similar types of camps. Now, the state academies, wherever they are, have also started conducting state sessions because the game has changed so much. Now you have red ball cricket, and in white ball, there are 22 formats. It might be that T10 starts soon, so another format will be added. Now you need to develop players who are multi-skilled. If you are a specialist batter, then you should also be able to bowl. And one thing that applies to everyone is that you must be a good fielder. Whether you are a batsman, a bowler, or a wicket-keeper, being a good fielder is very important. In our time, it wasn't like that. When we did keeping, we never focused on fielding, and that was a mistake back then. In today's time, you will see that if you make Rishabh Pant do outfielding, he will manage that as well. And he will also do keeping. Dhruv, who is a good keeper, is also a good fielder. Similarly, there are many wicket keepers who are also good fielders. In the same way, now the BCCI should try to create multi-skilled players. If you are a bowler, then you should also bat. If you are a batsman, start bowling. If you are a batsman or a bowler, start wicket keeping. Now you have to create such players. Work is being done in this direction, and this is significant. Now gradually we are starting to see this.
Sir, these days there is a lot of debate going on. Ever since Kohli broke Sachin Sir's record, there's been a debate about who was the better player, Tendulkar or Kohli. What do you think about this?
No, they are different. There is no need to comment on this. Each era is different. The game keeps changing, and the records of each era are different. Now, no one has broken Don Bradman's record, nor will anyone be able to, because cricket in those days was different. Matches used to be played on uncovered pitches. Back then, it was different. The skill sets were different. The pressure was different. Then, after that, for Sachin Tendulkar, the pressure on him was different. At that time, the team wasn't performing as well. He was a sole player. He had to go in and score runs. That determines many records and achievements. But if we look at it in the modern era, when Virat Kohli started playing, and what he has achieved in that era has to be one of the best. If you look at the countries, the 23 batters will also be included in that. But since I have spent time, I have seen a lot with Sachin from his childhood to growing up, making good runs. In my view, his stature, his position is very high.
I ask this question, sir, because nowadays there's a debate that the bowlers from the past are not present today. The bowlers Sachin faced, Kohli hasn't faced. But in my opinion, the bowlers today are good, according to today's standards.
Haha, that's always there. This is always discussed. Why don't people say that the bowlers from Sachin's era were preceded by those from Sunil's era, so this will always remain debatable? Absolutely. But we need to talk about the current opinion or the current stage. And absolutely, we are made to break the core. Now, why are we saying that a bigger pace bowler than Jasprit Bumrah hasn't been born yet? Kapil, there are different things. Absolutely, because there wasn't as much cricket back then.
Today, there's more cricket happening. So I think the pressure is also more and accordingly, there are more opportunities.
Absolutely, Mahmood. Now, fan following has increased and the era of social media has arrived. Absolutely. Now everyone can say whatever they want to the players on social media. Earlier, there wasn't such a platform. It was just the media that talked about them. Now, social media has also joined in, and that's a bit of a challenge. Sir, we'd like to know a little about you. How did you choose cricket? I chose cricket. It was many years ago. I belonged to Patna. Patna, which is the capital of Bihar. At that time, the good thing was that, although it was a small town, there was a cricket environment. There used to be interclub matches and junior level matches. And my father was very passionate about someone from his family playing cricket. And I am the youngest in my family. I have two elder brothers, and all three of us started playing cricket. Although before us, no one in our family had played cricket, there was definitely an interest, and people in the community always used to talk about it. So my father was very fond of not playing, but watching cricket and listening to cricket commentary. My father also used to go to watch local matches, and in the same way, we developed an interest, and all three of us started playing from a very young age. I was also fortunate to have good coaches. Then I joined a very good school, St. Xavier's School, where there was a cricket culture. They had a school team, and inter-school matches used to take place. So my interest kept growing in that way. But my father's contribution was very significant. If I hadn't received his support, I don't think I would have ever been able to play cricket. That's how my journey began. Then I started playing for Bihar, played under 15, then started playing under 19. After that, I was selected for the India under 19 team, and from there, I began to feel that if I can play for India under 19, then why can't I play for the senior team as well?
So that desire, that ambition, once it enters the mind, it becomes very difficult to remove it from there. And perhaps the dedication that comes with it. Because at that time, a 13-year-old boy who was the captain of the under-19 team, what was going on in his mind at that time?
At that time, there wasn't much pressure on the mind. It was just a lot of fun going to the field and playing. If I got the captaincy, then I got it. At 14 years old, I was 13 or 14 when I started playing for Bihar in the Ranji Trophy. I made my debut at 14 years old. And before that, as you mentioned, I had been the captain of the under-19 team and I had played under 15, so captaincy was a very natural progression. But the best part was that playing was a lot of fun. So you wanted that whenever you got a break from school, you could keep playing. And I remember that even at that time, the environment for playing was fantastic. And wherever you went, you could play. Just going out into the open air and playing on the field, expressing yourself, that was a big thing.
There were many sites.
Today, there are still fields, college grounds, and other grounds. We all started playing like that. There was never any pressure like, why didn't you score runs? You're playing badly. Whatever you did, everyone appreciated it. So, because of that, the balance of the mind and peace of mind always remained. As I mentioned, we had a local coach, Officer M.N. Prasad, who helped a lot. He played me in his club. The school provided a lot of support, and there was never any pressure regarding studies. Once you started playing, you received a lot of support from school, home, parents, and the coach. Sir, after that, you made your debut in the first 2 matches.
At that time, we were perhaps looking for a permanent keeper. After Nayan Mongia, we kept changing keepers in those 23 series. There were continuous changes in those 23 series. In your debut match, you scored 52, and it was said that, yes, we have found a permanent keeper. After that, everything was going well. Then the year 2000 comes, and an accident happens where you get injured in the eye. Even after that, you might have played 1 match. In November, you played a test match against Bangladesh, but that was probably your last test match. As I mentioned to you, I was just thinking, that my career was yet to start, but you had already reached that point. And there's a mindset that if I'm performing well, I'll stay with the team for a long time. And for us, it's a dream. Our first love has always been cricket. Now, at such a time, when an accident has ended your career, the mindset at that time is crucial. And many people go into depression thinking they haven't been able to do this work for 2 months. But the years of hard work of a person come to a halt. How you handled it will tell people, and it will be quite inspiring for them.
That was a very difficult period, Sushil, because this accident that happened to me was in the year 2000. At that time, I was regularly playing for India, and I got injured in my right eye. After that, I was out of the game for about 45 months. I underwent treatment, and gradually, some of my vision was returning. At that time, I was selected for the test team, but my vision hadn't fully returned. But I felt that maybe after this, even the vision I have now might not remain. So I decided that I would play one test match. As you said, every cricketer, every youngster steps onto the field. Their dream is to play for India. So that was my dream too. Especially for some time, the dream was to definitely play a test match. And I had that golden opportunity when my name was announced for the test match. Before that, I had worked very hard to play a test match, but I hadn't gotten the chance before. An opportunity came at a very critical time when I had an eye injury. But I decided that whatever happens, I won't get another chance after this. So I'll give it a try. Let's see how it feels to play. That's why I went and played that test match. That was my first test match in Bangladesh. And unfortunately, it turned out to be my last test match. While playing the test match, I realized that I couldn't continue playing international cricket because you can't play international cricket with one eye, especially if you are a wicket keeper. A batsman might manage for some time, but it becomes difficult for them too, and even more so for a wicket keeper. And then there was also the fear that if something happened to the other eye, it would be even more troublesome for me to recover from that. And think about another career, which did take some time. The good thing for me, Sushil, was that even when I used to play, I paid a lot of attention to my education. I went to a good school, completed my schooling, and then I graduated. Here at Delhi University, when I came to college, my interest always remained towards education. After that, when I started playing, fortunately for Tata Steel, I had started working. In ET6, I worked in different positions across various departments. Whenever I got the chance, whenever I was free from cricket matches and practice, I would definitely go to the office to work. So in a way, my backup plan worked out after I got injured. On one hand, my interest in education and along with that, my intention to work at Tata Steel. Even when I used to play, I always felt that you should have a world beyond cricket. And that world for me was Tata Steel. I had a great interest in reading books, which has been a hobby of mine since childhood, from school. I've had a passion for reading since I was a child. So that hobby of mine continued. So from these two things, two facets in my life. Even when I was playing cricket, it helped me a lot beyond cricket. And on top of that, I had the support of my family, my own family, my extended family. That's why even after getting injured for a few years, I continued to work at Tata Steel, working on different performances. And then I chose this broadcasting career, got into commentary, coaching, became a selector, then worked with BCCI. So behind all these things was my interest. The life beyond cricket, which I told you about, was very beneficial.
And, sir, you also run an academy, right? There is also an academy in Noida. So children are being prepared for the future from here.
The attempt is there, but creating the future is not in our hands. Sometimes, as a coach, we make this mistake. We think that we will shape this player's future, but the future and the player have to shape themselves. Our job is to provide such facilities so that the children can learn it themselves. We need to create an environment where they can learn by themselves. We need to conduct such practice sessions with them so that they can bring out their own talent. And the children these days are very talented. I don't just think, I am confident that there wasn't as much talent in our time as I see in today's era. There are hard-working boys and girls, which is a very good thing. They spend a lot of time and they are under a lot of pressure. Now there is pressure from studies, pressure to go to school. And on top of that, if the child is taking out time to go to an academy, whether it's my academy or someone else's academy, it's a big deal. So our effort should be that the 2 or 2.5 hours the child spends at our academy should not be wasted. Every time, every moment, every instant should be utilized in learning somehow. And if we create that kind of environment and bring in all kinds of coaching styles, then I believe the children will shape their own future. Absolutely, sir. And as you mentioned, there are both boys and girls.
15 years ago, women's cricket wasn't as prominent. But in the last 15 years, the BCCI has done a lot of work, a great deal. And now you're also going for the Women's Premier League. Yes. So if you could inform people about the steps BCCI is taking so that the information reaches them that there is a career option for girls as well, it would be a good option for them.
Absolutely. Now, what we are seeing is that you should understand that just like men's cricket, in the same way,